All right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this fine Tuesday afternoon, about 4:30 p.m., January 10th. I hope everyone is doing most excellent. Um, Tonight's video du jour is, full disclosure, was sent to me for free. Rex reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you review my game?" And I said, "Sure, send me a copy." These eyes are getting old, guys, and I just can't read PDFs as easily as I used to. Even on a big screen, it just bothers my eyes too much. So I am pretty much going to a physical copy. If you want me to review your game, I'm going to need a physical copy. But I try to pass it on, and the goodwill and the effort that designers and publishers do. And if you send me a copy of your book, unless I absolutely love it, and I feel like I've got to own it, I'm going to pass it on to my Patreon subscribers. I do every 3 months. I do a drawing, and some lucky Patreon member gets a copy of a game, so or whatever it may be that I'm reviewing. So today's video du jour is Eyes Beyond the Torchlight by I forgot his name already, Scott Myers, which I'm going to say this is the first thing I've read by him that I am aware of, and I'm going to say phenomenal game designer. Um, if you're tired of all the OGL crap, but you still want that old school or, vibe of the world's oldest RPG, this might be something you're looking for. You're going to use all your polyhedrals, all your dice, your D20 on down. A standard roll is a D20 plus an attribute or skill, and a boost or a setback die. Your boost or your setback die is a D6. I recommend getting maybe a white one or a yellow one, and then a black one or gray or something, two different colors, and set those out. You only ever get one, and of course they cancel each other out like advantage and disadvantage. So you can't have a boost and a setback in the same skill roll or attribute roll. You would just, or action, you would just cancel out and roll your standard attribute and or skill roll. So what's neat is it's a D20. Your target number is always 12 plus or minus any modifiers the GM gives you. And those might be, you're fighting a goblin who has a threat number of, let's say, 2. I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but let's just say it's a threat number of 2. Now your target number of 12 becomes a 14. So you're trying to, interact with this creature, this goblin. You're going to have to roll a d20, and you're looking for a 14 or better, adding your d20 roll plus your attribute and or your skill, plus or minus a setback or a boost die. It has edges and hindrances, just like Savage Worlds, and they do really cool stuff. It has hero points, just like Pathfinder. Every player starts with 5 hero points. There are boons and hindrances, which can adjust that by plus or minus 1. And everybody gets an edge for free. Certain races, of course, get certain edges. But you can take an extra edge, but you have to roll randomly on the hindrance table and get something negative. And for each race, there's a small 1d6 table of what those hindrances are. So it's pretty cool. So no two characters will be exactly the same. I mean, the odds are you only got a 1 in 6 chance of rolling the same thing, uh, or as a d6 die, but still you may get two characters, but the flavor is going to be different. You have 4 attributes, which this is what I love. Also, in the beginning of the book, there's a glossary, which I think is very handy. Just most of the terms everybody who's a gamer is going to know. Um, and I like this at the very beginning. It says, "What makes EBTT, Eyes Beyond the Torchlight? What makes it different? The basic dice mechanic, again, 1d20 plus attribute skill, plus or minus a boost or hindrance die. Player facing, meaning the players make all the rolls. GMs don't make a whole lot of rolls. Simple modifiers, boost or hindrance die, or disadvantage die, setback die, excuse me, a standard target number, stat dice, damage, threats and the target, boost and setbacks, which we've talked about, hero and villain points. So yeah, just like Savage Worlds, the GM gets villain points. You get 1 per player for any of the main bad guys in the game. Edges and hindrances, simplified spell casting. Mwah! Oh, it's beautiful. And simplified stats. You got 4 stats, and I want to get to those. Damage is super simple too. I really like it. Uh, let me get here. All right, so your stats. You have brawn, agility, intellect, and presence. And those are exactly what you think they are. If you've been playing role-playing games for any amount of time, you know pretty much what all of those do. And then your stat die is going to be represented from what you chose in character creation. And here's neat. No min-maxing here. No cheating the system like you can do in D&D and certain other games. You have 2 choices. You have an array, which I believe is you get... oh, where is it? Did I put it right here? Yeah, here we go. You get an array of... Now, of course, I can't find it when I need it. Well, one of your options is to take all 6s. So all 4 stats, you get a 6. So you're basically average. Everything is a D6, and then it can move up from there based on edges and hindrances and or your racial stats that you get. Beginning stats. Here we go. So you get your beginning stats for every character. You get 2 choices. Like I said, you can take D6 across all 4 stats, or for a little flexibility, you can take a D8, a D6, a D6, and a D4, and you can arrange them in any way you like. Raising stats cost it advancement points, which is what you get. That's your experience points. That's really nice. Average session. If a GM wanted to be generous, he could give you whatever number he wants, of course. But on average, you're going to get 2, maybe 3 experience points per session. So very similar again to Savage Worlds. I see a lot of Savage Worlds influence in here, but what I see is very positive, and I like it. And then, of course, the dice order is your standard 0, D4, D6, D8, D12. And D12 is the highest you can go. You can't have any stat above a D12 plus 3, I think is the most. So once you escalate all the way up to a D12 via advancement, then it's a D12 plus 1, D12 plus 2, D12 plus 3. But that's going to mean you're playing for a while. I kind of like this a little bit better than Savage Worlds in the aspect that Savage Worlds, you even at 2 or 3 experience points, you advance pretty quick. Every 2 sessions, you're getting an advancement, and there's only 5 levels of advancement in Savage Worlds, which is great. It works great. I don't feel that it works very good for long term. I think this will work a little bit better for long term. So if you're looking for something to replace your D&D campaign or your Pathfinder campaign or even Savage Worlds, take a good look at Eyes Beyond the Torchlight. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. One of the nice things too is um, when the storyteller, GM, game master, whatever, gives you a bonus. So let's say uh, you're going to knock down the door, but you've decided to improvise a battering ram, and you're going to get back and take a run. The GM has 2 options here, and he can use both, or he can use just one, or he can decide to use none. But he can say, add a boost die to that, a boon die, and so you could add an extra D6 to your 1d20 plus your brawn, because that's what you would use to bash down that door. Or he can say, you know what, since you're using some improvisation and you're taking a run and start, let's go ahead and +1 to your brawn. So now, let's say for argument's sake, your brawn is a D6. Now it's a D8. You advance at a dice step. So it uses dice steps, which is nice. Now, of course, if you have a setback die, that's a negative D6, and you would subtract that from your total. But let's, for argument's sake, and of course, a boost die would add up to a 1d6 to your total. So it's very simple. Brawn, agility, intellect, presence. Cut and dry. Then it goes into character creation. That's the basic rules. Armor is from 0, no armor, light 1, medium 2, heavy 3. A shield adds a +1 to, I believe, the boost, if I remember correctly. I could have that wrong. We'll double check it here in a minute. But that's what you subtract from your damage. And then, of course, the damage is whatever the weapon damage is via your brawn, I believe. And then, of course, if you get hit, you would subtract your armor from that, and then that's how many hit points you take. You have ancestries for creating a character. So you choose your ancestry. you will get an edge. You get a second edge of your choice uh, from the three above, but you must roll a hindrance table on the ancestry if you do. And then the hindrance table is a 1d6 table that you must roll on if you choose that second edge. So you can be a little different from every other dwarf, let's say, but you have to take a hindrance. And like for the dwarf, the hindrances are pariah, you're an outcast from dwarven people. Dwarven greed, when precious metals are involved, your rolls have a setback to resist being tempted by gold, gems, or more. So you're greedy. Or pride, when dealing with ancestries besides dwarves, all rolls have a setback to social situations because you're a dwarf and you're better than everybody else. And that's really what you do for your character. And then once you've chosen a character, then you're going to choose your class. And I'm going to jump to the classes here. Bear with me. And they're tough here. Archetypes. You get cleric, mage, rogue, warrior. That's it. It's cut and dry. It is so simple, guys, and fast. You're going to have a character. There's no random dice rolling except for the hindrances if you decide to take an extra edge. And then, of course, you're going to have to roll that d6 to take a hindrance. And then as you advance through the game and you get advancement points, you can spend, and this is what I kind of like, you can expend those advancement points to get more edges or buy off hindrances. I don't remember exactly what the cost was to buy off a hindrance, but it wasn't anything outrageous. I think it was 10 points. I could be wrong. Again, I've only had the book for a couple of days and I've been reading it like crazy when I have time. You can raise a stat, cost a number of advancement points equal to the maximum of the die type you are raising it to. So e.g. to go from a D4 to a D6 cost you 6 advancement points. You can't raise it twice. You can't go from a D4 to a D8 by just spending 8 points. You have to raise it each time. Again, very similar to Savage Worlds. I think a shield, if I remember correctly, a shield adds +1 to your dodge. Initiative is a 1d20 plus your intellect stat, and then whoever gets the highest goes to first. It's equal to the threat number of the monsters. So if you roll above that, you go before the monsters. If you roll less than that, the monsters go before you. So if everyone gets a crappy initiative roll, the monsters go first. And you roll defense, kind of like Simba Room. So the GM doesn't really roll a whole lot of dice. The monsters, you're rolling your defense. And then if you make it, great, you don't take damage. If you fail, you take damage. And of course, your armor goes in there. 5 AP to gain a new edge. Removing a hindrance, 10 AP. So I did remember. Gaining new hit points. You can raise your brawn stat or by buying the Vigor Edge, increases your character's hit points. You can never have more than double your brawn. So if your brawn is 8, you can never have more than 16 hit points, which makes sense. Double the maximum brawn stat. So yeah, low hit points. So that's mean the game's going to move a little faster. There's not going to be a whole lot of bookkeeping. The edges and setback or hindrances are going to add a lot of flavor. So no two characters are going to be exactly the same. Um, they do have tiers, just like in Savage Worlds. So it's novice, which is less than 50 adventure points, experienced, which is 50 experience adventure points, champion is 100, veteran is 200, legend is 400. So it's going to take you quite a while to get there. And I just think it's a better, don't get me wrong, I love Savage Worlds, but I think this is a more smoother transition to those levels, and it's going to provide longer gameplay. They go through a character creation example. They give you a full list of equipment. There's a full list of edges and hindrances. There's quite a few. You could definitely pull out your Savage Worlds books, whatever, what 50 Fathoms, Deadlands, if you wanted to run like more of a Western thing or hard. I think this is grokkable, very grokkable to play whatever you want. Sci-fi would take a little bit of work, but I think, again, easy enough to do. So full list of edges and hindrances. The mechanics are, like I said, super simple. Tells you how armor works, weapons, you know, uh, let's see, I'm trying to just get a, because I didn't, unfortunately, don't remember how actual damage works. So I wanted to make sure I had a grasp on that. I know it's not terribly difficult. There's a very good items section, the powers for all your spells. There's a little bestiary built into here, and of course, each monster has a threat number. So, like the NKEG has a threat number of 4, and it tells you on these first beginning ones, it gives you the math. But later on in the book, as you progress through the monster, well, I guess it does you for all of them. Some of them it didn't. There's 1 or 2 that it didn't. But it tells you what the new threat number is. So instead of it being a 12, because that's the default, when you're trying to hit that monster or defend against that monster, you're going to add its threat number to 12, and that's your new total, and then you go from there. So that's kind of cool. Um, there is a nice example of play so that you know what you're doing. There's some magical items, +1 weapons, +2, so on and so forth. A really good bestiary. I really like what's in here: Death Knights, Chimeras, Cloakers, Giant Crab, Skeletons, Shambling Mound, Scarecrow, all the creepy stuff. Zombies, of course, wolves, yellow mold, wyvern, dragon, of course, is in here. You don't even want to know what the threat number is of a dragon. It's just, you better. Potions and scrolls, magic items, uh, and the part that I really, really like. But I wanted to go back and look at damage, because by golly, that part's messing me up, and I want to know myself. Uh, there's like I said, it's just really well laid out. Um, There's a GM's guide section, healing and dying. It's kind of giving you everything you need. I mean, it is really a one-shot um, thing. So here's melee combat. So defensive fighting. Fighting defensively grants a better chance to defend from enemy blows at the expense of a penalty to melee attacks. When using defensive fighting, your dodge rolls have a boost, but your attack rolls have a setback. And if another circumstance already makes your attacks or defenses have a boost or setback, you cannot use defensive fighting. So got to be careful what edges you may have, because if you get an edge in melee attacks, you may not be able to fight defensively. Um, yeah, and so wearing a shield increases the agility dice of your dodge. So basically, if you have an agility of D6 and you're using a shield, you're trying to dodge, your agility is now a D8. So it just bumps your dice up 1. So basically, to make a melee combat roll, you roll a 1d20 plus your brawn. If you're using ranged attacks, it would be your agility. The threat number of the opponent to meet or beat a 12. Uh, plus the brawn. So 1d20 plus your brawn die minus the threat number of the opponent to meet or beat 12. So your target number, I misspoke. Your target number is always 12. You're just going to subtract the threat number of the monster you're fighting. So again, let's say, our target number is 12. We're fighting a goblin that's a threat number of 2. Our target number now, we subtract 2 from our die. It still works the same way. I really feel you could do it both ways. The math comes out the same. Um, uh, on a fail, the attack misses. On a success, the attack does damage to the opponent. The damage done is the brawn dice of the offense roll. So in the case my brawn is a D6, I'm going to roll a D6. If I have any edges that add anything to that, those will factor in. But you're going to take whatever that is. As argument's sake, I roll a 4. You're going to take 4 damage. You're going to resist that with with your armor, the monster's armor, if it has any. And then that's how much damage you're going to take. You subtract that 0, 1, 2, or 3. Uh, yeah, armor has an associated damage reduction that ranges from 0 to 3. Uh, In the above example, Log wears light armor, damage reduction 1. He would have only taken 1 point of damage if the heavy armor, damage reduction 3, would have taken it to 0. Damage as the armor blocks all of the incoming damage. Minimum, there is an optional rule to make it a minimum of 1 point of damage. But I think for, basically, under 20 action points, basically novice characters, I wouldn't use that. It's a little brutal. And of course, shields bump it up. Uh, range combat is the same thing, except you use agility. And there's, of course, rules for cover and things like that, and far shots and aim shots. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. You can use 2 weapons to make attacks. So there's things here if you want to use two NPCs versus NPCs, attacks from a mount. Healing and dying is real simple. There's a short rest and a long rest. There's a breather, which I really like, which is basically you can do a breather after every combat as long as you're not immediately followed up by another combat. So it's basically there's no more bad guys in the room. You can maybe shut the door to where you're at, like say you're exploring a dungeon, and you can take a quick breather where you wrap up some bandages, you drink some water, and you can get a number of hit points back uh, real quick. Let's see here. Does it say? Yeah, it doesn't say. It's more in the advanced section there. But I mean, here's the point: buy the book and read it up. There's a GM's guide for NPCs and villains and working with those. And like I said, there's a full list of spells. So your magic users are going to have some spells. Clerics are going to have their godly powers. There's edges you can take to get you more spells, which I think is pretty cool. I think mages start with 4 powers. Clerics start with 2. But again, you could take an edge and after character creation, and you get more powers possibly. The other nice part is, like I said, there's a great example of play, which I want to read again. I kind of glanced over it. And then chapter 11, the back of the book, basically gives you the borderlands. And this is basically your setting. And it's very generic. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a flavor, but it's pretty much the same thing. Alcazar's Tower, the Hopwell Inn, the Hull, North Keep, the city of Wolfspire, all that kind of stuff. There's a forest, there's a map of the city of Wolfspire. So you definitely have, a good 178 to 216. So you've got a good 40, 50 pages of setting, and new monsters are in here. There's a little bit of an adventure to get you through the dungeon. There's a dungeon crawl. There's languages, military. So, guys, I can't say enough good stuff about this. I can't wait to get my local Pathfinder group when we're ready to take a break and look at another game. I'm going to pitch this to them. I want to get this to the table and play because I think you get to chuck a bunch of dice. You're still rolling your D20s. Who doesn't get excited when you get a boost die and you get to add an extra die on top of whatever your attribute is? That's awesome. So really well done. I'm so glad this was sent to me. And like I said, it was sent to me for free. But I think I might actually buy another copy and just have a table copy, so the players will have something to look at. But I definitely want to get this onto the table real quick and try. And I think when I do that, I'm gonna do an after action report and talk about what I liked, what I disliked. And I got a funny feeling there's not going to be a whole lot I dislike. I'm really, really enjoying this. The art is it's all black and white. Uh, there's no character sheet in here. You got to go to the website and download the character sheet. It's made in the U.S. and Monet. Is it Monet? That's okay. I can't fix it. Sorry, my little guy's coming in here. His toy broke. Go watch TV till Daddy's done, and I'll come help you. Sorry about that. The joys of having an autistic child. He doesn't care what you're doing. He wants attention now. Um, Guy, this is a buy in my book. I don't know what the retail is. Hopefully, Rex Well, I think it's Rex. I apologize if it's Rex or Rix. I thought it was Rex Hull. I may have gotten the name wrong. I do apologize, but um, this is a winner. He bought the rights to the game. Mr. Myers, you've created a phenomenal game. I'm very impressed with this because it gives me that vibe of, like I said, Savage Worlds and everything that I love about Savage Worlds, but it takes away all the stuff I don't like about Savage Worlds and doesn't give me that vibe of wanting more in a bad way, like it's missing something. I don't feel from what I've read here that there's anything missing. My only caveat would be the GM not rolling a lot of dice, but that's fine. I mean, I GM Simba Room and I love Simba Room, so I can get over it. And it allows the GM to focus on the story, which is always a good thing if you don't have to worry about it. I love how initiative works. I love the boost die and the setback die. I love the edges and hindrances, and like I said, with all the Savage Worlds books that are out there, you've got a plethora of edges and hindrances that you could draw upon, and they seem like they'll be pretty consistent and not too hard. So pretty excited. You get to roll damage dice. You get to do cool stuff. Guys, go check it out. I can't say enough good things about it. I'm going to dive into this some more. I'm going to spend the weekend reading it. I have to run Castles and Crusades tomorrow night, but after that, I'm going to dive back into Eyes Beyond the Torchlight. I think it's a winner in my book. So that's pretty much my review. It is a buy. Get it. Tell me what you think about it. If you run it for your group, let me know what they think. Did you enjoy it? What would you change, if anything? And don't forget, we have a very active Discord. Pop into the Discord and tell me, talk to me about it. I'm usually always on Discord. Even at work, I have access to my Discord. So unless I'm super busy, obviously I won't reply. But for the most part, uh, I get a lunch hour and I kind of go through my Discord at that time. So as always, hit me up on Discord and or comments here on YouTube. I try to reply to every comment. Like and subscribe. That's a huge help to the channel. Grease the algorithms. If you're not doing anything, put my channel on and just let it autoplay all the videos in the background if it's not hurting anything. If you're not paying for data, just let it run in the background. The watch time is one of the algorithms that YouTube uses to gauge the popularity of a channel. So the higher watch time you have, the higher up in the algorithm you bounce. And so that would be a big help. Patreon, $5 a month. It's pretty cut and dry. Um, Also get you into drawings when I do drawings for product that's been sent to me. Sometimes I don't have anything and I'll just buy you a $25 gift card to Drive Through RPG. It's whatever. Stickers, I sent out some stickers at the beginning of summer. Probably next summer I'll do another batch of stickers for all the new people. um, Hit me up on YouTube or on the Discord or through Patreon if you want some stickers. I'll send them to you. Other than that, like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know I went through that kind of fast, but I'm trying to fight back this cough, and I wanted to get this out because once I start coughing, I can't stop. So I wanted to get this out, and I'm trying to keep this cough at bay. So as always, peace and hair grease. Like and subscribe, and remember, as always, Mr. Mean says be nice. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.